Welcome to IST 816 Web Fundamentals, Lesson 15, Mobile. We're really going to focus on apps this lesson. And apps are the software applications used on mobile phones, tablets, computers, and many other mobile devices. They many times include social networking aspects, those are the most popular, but also shopping, travel, games. They are different than applications. Okay, an application is typically much more complex. It has many features. It involves on some type of desktop or laptop computer. And apps are really focused on typically one particular niche and allows the mobile phone to access some resource on the internet or cellular network. Slide 3. Mobile design has really taken off, and since really Apple, then the launch of the iPhone really generated this whole concept of development of mobile applications and really started to make it a much more interesting market, because Apple not only did Apple develop the hardware, but they set up a good mobile hardware and ecosystem where developers could develop apps, place them in a central repository, and then consumers and technology users could then access them. Now, again, an app is not the same as a desktop application or even a mobile website. Okay, and these apps combined with the mobile phone, and given the context of that is inherent in mobile technology, like location, other aspects about the environment, really makes apps very powerful. Okay, some overall design considerations. And I'm pointing this out because your goal is, your assignment for this week is to design an app. You're going to build an app, an actual functional one. So now, some design considerations, okay? Different platforms are different, and different mobile platforms, okay, have different characteristics about them, screen size, for example. So you simply can't port apps from one operating system or one hardware platform to another. Apps really need to leverage the advantage of especially mobile phones. Mobile devices have some constraints, but they also have some very inherent advantages that can allow us to approach this very creatively. Okay, so we need to take advantage of these mobile technologies. Again, location probably being one of the most prevalent ones. Also, the screen space is different, so it puts a lot of strain on accessibility. A person may not be able to see small fonts, and they really have very limited capabilities to expand that on a mobile device relative to what they would have on a desktop. Now, in terms of design considerations, in the design, we always want to kind of visualize and actually utilize the actual platform that we're developing for. Be conscious of metaphors. The aspect of on a desktop, the concept of a document and a folder, those are from a paper-based office metaphor. Okay, so that particular metaphor does not port well to a handheld device. So be conscious of these design metaphors that really have been around for a long time in desktop and laptop environments. The screen resolution on many of mobile devices is quite good. So you can really leverage the color, weight, texture to highlight differences in your app, and thereby overcoming some of the limitations of the screen space. Again, recall you're designing an app, not an application. So apps have some unique characteristics. The phone, the preloaded content on the phone, but also being able to access offline content. However, you can get complex and design for different, we call it layers of experience, from initial contact to more in-depth involvement. Right? And also with the mobile phone, it does have sometimes very large storage capability. So you can preserve the context and the state of the app for the user from one use to the next. So let's look at this, the mobile design process as a 12-step process here. First, define your goal. What are you trying to accomplish? Step 2, sketch it out, wireframe it out. Okay, do some mock-ups. Third, do research. What are you trying to accomplish with this app, and who are you trying to accomplish it for? Also, leverage your web analytics skill sets and your online marketing skill sets to do research for your competition and your potential customers. Create a wireframe and storyboard. In other words, how would you expect a user to progress through this application? Okay. Define the back end of your mobile app. What data is it going to pull from the mobile device? What data is it going to pull from the web or the cellular network? Okay. Do some testing of your prototype, even if it's a Wizard of Oz, even if it's a mock-up. Wizard of Oz meaning a presentation that really doesn't have the functionality in the back end. At that point, you're actually ready to start build the back end of your application. Okay. Once that is done, design the skins, in other words, the user interface for your app. What's the consumer going to see? Test the entire app again, then revise and continue to build, and then keep refining each. Step 11, continue the refinement in detail. Now, at some point, good is good enough. And step 12 is finally the release time of getting it out there to your user population. For this particular assignment, you are actually going to build an application. Right? For those that have not done any programming, we're going to do a development environment that is primarily drag and drop, but it will allow you to see the development process and get a functional app. Okay, this is not a mock-up. You're going to get a functional app out. Be sure and tie in your reading for this week in terms of what it means to design mobile and what are some mobile development fundamentals. Thank you very much.